So if you choose always me, I'll make a promise to choose all of you. And if you will follow me now,
together for 48 years, and we've worked together all the time, you know, and it's a wonderful feeling when you have a partner like that you can just be with, and you know that that's where you should be.
I met Trevor on a blind date, the second blind date and the last blind date in my life. A friend from Orange, a wool classer, rang me up and said, "This very old friend of mine is in town. Would you go out to dinner with him? He had an argument with his girlfriend who was going, and he's just arrived here from Hong Kong, and would you go out to dinner with him in a group? We're all going." I said, "No." I said, "If he's not good enough to get his own girl, I'm not going to be saddled with him." Anyway, Barry rang back again about 14 times during the day. Really worked on me and said he'd known this fella for so long and he'd promised he'd get a girl for him for the dinner party that night. And in the end he wore me down. And I was only going to another party which I was not madly keen about anyway. So in the end I said yes, I would go. And I met him on the ship. Everybody was meeting in Trevor's cabin and then going up to that place on Epping Road, El Rancho. When I first saw him, I thought he was an interesting older man. It was his misspent youth, I think. Anyway, we got on very well, and he asked me out on a date all on his own. We went to Pruniers, and we're telling each other the story of our lives. And I said to him, "Of course I'm a Catholic." And he said, "Oh, I'd never marry a Catholic." And I said, "Well, that suits me because I don't want to get married." Famous last words. Every time he was in port, he'd ring me up, and I went out with other fellows when he was off at sea, but he was the one. Maybe after the second or third date that I felt very comfortable with him.
Was Trevor a smooth character?
Oh, he's very smooth, yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, he keeps telling me how shy he was, but I don't think he was shy at all. I think he's convinced himself of that. He was a really man of the world. I mean, he'd been at sea since he was 16. Trip to Melbourne on the Taiping, and we went to the Miss Australia Ball, and we were doing the rock and roll, which was popular at the time. And he said, "Will you marry me?" And I said, "No, it's too soon after dinner." I thought he was joking. So he had to ring everybody up and say, "We're getting married Wednesday, would you like to come?" And we were married in Orange, in the local church, and everybody went up to Sydney. The chef on the Taiping had already made the wedding cake when we became engaged. So he came up in a taxi holding the cake, which was quite enormous, in the taxi, and got there just in time. We went on board there and stayed on board until we got Philippines, Hong Kong, and then Japan. I couldn't work out whether I really liked being married or not. Well, I thought marriage was, you know, a bed of roses and everything was absolutely perfect. But it's not like that, living with somebody. You have to make allowances for differences, and which surprised me completely. We were in Tokyo, I think. All Trevor wanted to do was visit all the night spots. We must have visited every nightclub in Tokyo. And I'd say, "Can we go home now, Trevor? Can we go back to the ship?" "No," he'd say, "the Greek club's still open." In the taxi over to the Greek club, which didn't close till 4 in the morning.
3 kids who I never said at any stage of their life that they should go and follow me into the business or anything. It was never mentioned everywhere, anyway. Yet the 3 of them came to me and asked to come in at various stages. Now they had seen Mum and Dad working 7 days a week, practically all their life, because I worked 7 days a week in the boat shed, and then when we got Captain Cook it was 7 days a week. I know, and I regret that we didn't have enough time or holidays or whatever. we certainly made up for it with Geraldine, the way she handled the children and looked after the children, because the children are there and the example of what's happened. Who looked after them? Geraldine. Gave them a lovely start in life. So we don't regret that at all. We regret that we could have spent more time. Well, you know, it's a sort of bit of a balanced life. You do what you can afford to do. When you've got a boat shed running 7 days a week, and you can't afford to employ somebody, well,
I found that every age has brought a new challenge and something new and exciting. So I haven't missed anything, I felt.
Okay.
It's like when I've got arthritis. I had already fallen down every mountain in Austria and Norway. Such a lot of really good things have happened. I suppose having 3 wonderful children and 7 beautiful grandchildren has made life really worthwhile for me. It's been fantastic to see them interested in the business, coming into the business and running it with the same sort of passion that we did. We had no option. We had to go in, and I had to sell the tickets, and Trevor had to work in the office. We had to take the children with us because we couldn't leave them alone at home. So Anthony used to go on board and work with the engineer, washing cups and saucers for the coffee cruise. Jackie would go into the office and do the telephone calls from the age of about 9, I suppose. And Alison was only, 3 or 4 years old. She'd sit in the ticket box with me while I sold the tickets, or hand out, when she was older, a couple of years older, she'd hand brochures out on the wharf. And so they were all very much involved right from the word go. They're all hard-working, good kids. They all have very nice families. I'm very fond of my daughter-in-law and my son-in-laws, 2 son-in-laws, which is very fortunate. And they've been really good children to me, very caring.
Imagine all the people living for today.
And the culmination of our whole life's work, really, that they chose to use our cruise ships for the boatcade. And he was such a gentle, nice man. And with the pilgrims on all our other boats and on the top deck of the Sydney 2000, all screaming out, "Viva, viva Benny, viva Benny," and so happy. And taxi drivers told us that it was the best atmosphere in Sydney ever that they'd experienced, with all these happy pilgrims. So it was absolutely lovely. And I got to kiss his ring, which was very exciting. Trevor and Anthony shook his hand and welcomed him on board. And that was really very exciting.
What has Geraldine brought to your life?
Oh, stability, love, life, everything. She's brought everything to me. And she means everything to me because you're very fortunate when you meet somebody like that you can overcome things. Fully supportive of everything that we've done, always. But she says her piece.